Hey everyone! Some time ago I made these parts of the window casing. It's time to finish the installation, and also I want to share the history of this little butterfly joint and how this relates to stone processing. Let's get started! This is what I managed to install in the last video. This house is very old and has undergone renovation. This metal around the windows is part of a reinforcement system designed to keep the house from falling apart, which complicates my installation. Now my task is to make sure that my stone structure won't depend on its attachment to the walls when it's assembled, and it won't collapse if the connection between stone structure and the walls fail. So I'll start with these corner pieces. It's inconvenient and a lot of extra work, but nothing better came to my mind to connect the top pieces together. In addition, the walls are very crooked, therefore I need to install each part without glue, mark where and how much it needs to be cut, so that the part fits well into its place. The parts have to be cut outside, as the work is very dusty. And as you can see, I am on the second floor, and it turns out to be a good workout, so I try not to run back and forth twice, and along with the part I cut wooden supports. Before gluing the parts, the walls need to be primed. And here is a handy trick. Instead of applying the primer with a brush, I use a sprayer. This is very convenient, especially on vertical surfaces, since the primer does not drip on my head. The wall must be soaked with primer, and I just spray it on the wall until the primer stops absorbing and starts to flow down. In this project all the glues are super elastic, and I leave expansion joints everywhere. The entire structure must have enough flexibility to withstand the natural movements of the house, as well as differences in thermal expansion. The weather doesn't help, but I have to work because this small project has already become very time-consuming. After installing each element, I need to wait a day until the glue sets, and I can disassemble the supporting structures. And that's why I started the installation from the top. I need to push this reinforcement into the groove. It will tie the corners with the center piece, and I won't have to worry about a slab of stone falling on my head. If I had installed the side pieces first, there would be no way to install the reinforcement. All the parts I brought are larger than the required size, so I take measurements and cut them as I go along with the installation. And here is another tip. Although a laser measure is very convenient, you need to make sure that its measurements match the rest of the measuring tools you have. I've learned it the hard way. By the way, meet my supervisor. Just a beast. The following parts are large and require the appropriate tools. And one more little trick. The parts are heavy and I need to move them so as not to scratch the window sill. That's why I put these tile crosses underneath. The part glides beautifully and they also leave 2 mm for an expansion joint. Now to the butterfly or dovetail joint. As I said, I need to mechanically connect the stone frame to its slopes. If the glue fails, the only way the stone frame can fall is in the direction away from the window. This is where the butterfly joint will shine. And to be honest, I didn't want to use it because I had seen enough of these butterflies in epoxy resin tables that YouTube is full of. Not that I'm against live edge tables and epoxy, but this is a slippery slope. Today there are wooden butterflies, and tomorrow the channel will be renamed to Made of Wood. Imagine my surprise when during my trip to Egypt I learned that the Egyptians had used this type of connection to join stone blocks together. So now you are looking at probably the most ancient type of fixture. To be fair, this type of connection was not only used by the Egyptians. There are traces of similar joints almost all over the world that were used by the developed civilization of that time. So as you can see, ancient technologies are not so lost. And today I finish part of my work decorating it with a butterfly. On the one hand for protection from earthquakes, and on the other for spiritual connection with the brilliant engineers of the past.